Discover the incredible truth, 24 life-changing hours in a hidden medieval dungeon exposed. Jake had always been the steady one, the dependable mechanic of Maplewood. But on that stormy night, desperation kicked in, like the tightening of a rusty bolt. He needed more than just a roof over his head, he craved a break from the stifling expectations that wrapped around him like the fog creeping into town. Jake was worn down after years of watching his sister, Lily, the apple of their mother's eye, reap accolades he could never seem to grasp. With every win for her, the shadows of his unfulfilled dreams deepened. As he fumbled through the rain, seeking shelter, he spotted the faint outline of an abandoned estate. The wind howled, guiding him into the decaying building where damp memories clung to the air like smoke. Pushing against the door, he heard the creak of history echo throughout the empty halls. Inside, dust motes swirled in the slivers of moonlight, pulling him into the depths of the forgotten structure. That he stumbled upon a hidden trapdoor that squeaked when nudged. Curiosity overcoming fear, he descended into a dimly lit medieval dungeon. Stones cold beneath his fingers, he felt the weight of centuries press down on him. It was there, glowing from a pedestal, that he found an object unlike any he had ever seen, a shimmering artifact pulsing with an eerie light. Little did he know, this object would unravel everything. The next day, adrenaline buzzed through his veins when he finally made it home with the artifact in hand. He placed it gingerly on the kitchen table, its glow casting an otherworldly hue over the room. Tension crackled in the air when Lily entered, her brow furrowed as she caught sight of what Jake had discovered. At first, their mother sighed in disbelief, dismissing it as mere junk. But when the artifact shimmered, it revealed hidden truths about their family, untold struggles and triumphs that couldn't be brushed aside. These shadows' unearthed secrets stirred a storm within them, emotions pouring out like rain against the window. Lily seemed less like the perfect star of their family, and Jake felt the weight of crippling doubt. Their mother's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she confronted the darker corners of their past, memories scarred by loss. It was as if the artifact had rewritten the narrative they had all clutched. What had once seemed like a clear path to success began crumbling beneath their feet. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The shockwave spread through Maplewood as the townsfolk whispered about the newfound knowledge of Jake's family. As the town prepared for the upcoming meeting, where ideals were about to clash and deep-rooted beliefs would be tested, Jake found himself standing at a crossroads. His heart pounded in his chest. Would he defend his family's honor, even if it meant revealing the truth that had long been hidden? Or would he fall into silence, burying the complexities that weighed so heavily on him? As dawn approached, Jake sat clutching the artifact, feeling its power coursing through him. The storm outside mirrored the tempest inside his heart. The truth was more than just a reveal, it was a reckoning. With every tick of the clock, Jake felt the delicate threads of family and tradition unraveling, leaving him on the brink of a decision that could redefine both who he was and the fabric of Maplewood itself. Would he have the courage to step into the light, to expose what lay in the shadows? The answer loomed, and as the day grew bright, Jake knew change was just ahead, waiting to unfold. Jake stood at the edge of a decision that felt larger than life. The sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, bathing everything in warm hues, but all he felt was cold dread. He looked over at Lily, who was staring at the artifact with a deep frown, and then at their mother, whose eyes were narrowed in thought. The tension was palpable. "Jake," Lily finally spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "What are we going to do about this?" His sister's words hung in the air, and he swallowed hard. It wasn't just the revelation of their past that scared him, it was the future, too. The anger and disappointment he felt churned inside him, fighting for a voice. It was easier to remain the quiet one, but that quiet had turned into complicity. "I don't know, Lil," he admitted, running a hand through his damp hair. But we can't just pretend this didn't happen. We need to face it together. Their mother turned from the window, her expression grave. You two need to understand the stakes here. The townspeople can be unforgiving. If the truth comes out, it could change everything. What do you mean change everything? Jake shot back, an edge creeping into his voice. This is our family's history. Maybe it's time they knew. Lily stepped closer, desperation in her eyes. Are you saying we should just tell everyone? What will they think of us? What about the good things we have? The reputation we've built? As she spoke, Jake could hear the cracks forming in her seemingly perfect world, the fear of losing everything because of one secret. But Jake wasn't looking at it that way. He saw it as a chance to step out from the shadows, to finally stand tall. He took a deep breath, his heart racing. Maybe it's not just about us anymore. What if this artifact can help other families too? What if it can show them they're not alone, that we've all got problems? We could change things for good. Their mother shook her head, eyes wide with concern. Jake, people don't change. They cling to their ideas of how things should be. It always ends in chaos. The mention of chaos resonated with Jake, a vivid image of the town meeting flooded his mind. His pulse quickened at the thought of standing in front of everyone, bearing their truths. Would he be strong enough? Maybe chaos is where change begins, he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. He could feel the artifact's warmth against his palm, it seemed alive, speaking to him, encouraging him to dare. Jake. Lily's urgency pierced through his thoughts. Think this through. We'll be risking everything. He glanced at her, seeing the flicker of fear and frustration in her gaze. It mirrored his own. Each of them weighed down by their expectations, Lily with her perfect life, and he with years of feeling second best. I'm tired of living in fear, Lil, Jake replied, finally meeting her gaze. I want to be free. We owe it to ourselves to find out what this means. Suddenly, the artifact pulsed brighter, casting flickering shadows across the walls. It felt like a heartbeat, full of promise and possibility. Jake knew he would either risk it all or continue living half a life. And just as he was about to speak again, a loud knock echoed through the house, pulling them back to the present. Who is it? Their mother called, tension rising again. A voice from the other side called out, familiar yet tinged with urgency. It's me, Thomas. You need to open up. They're starting to gather at the town square. Jake's heart sank. The moment was upon him, he couldn't put it off any longer. Could he muster the courage today? Lily turned to him, eyes wide with panic. Jake, we can't. But staring at the artifact, the intensity within him grew. We have to face them. This is our moment. As he moved towards the door, a question loomed in the air: would this be the end of everything they knew, or the beginning of something greater? Jake pushed open the door, the weight of destiny pressing heavily on his shoulders. Thomas stood on the porch, worry etched on his face. The sound of distant murmurs and footsteps thrummed in the air, a living reminder of the gathering storm in the town square. It felt like their lives hung in the balance. Jake, Lily, Thomas said urgently, his breath coming in quick bursts. You don't know what they're saying out there. They've already heard the rumors. Jake felt his heart race. Could they already know? It was like a flood of ice water had been poured over him. What do you mean? They think you found something that could shake the foundation of this town. His eyes darted nervously towards their mother, who stood quietly behind them, her expression unreadable. Lily's hand gripped Jake's arm tightly, and he could feel her pulse racing beneath the surface. We can't let them see us like this, Jake. She whispered, a mixture of fear and panic lacing her words, but Jake had made up his mind. The fear clawing at his insides was now just fuel for his resolve. He couldn't back down. We can't hide from this, Lily. Not now, he replied, his voice steady despite the chaos in his heart. Come on, we have to go. Thomas urged, stepping back to bring the urgency to life. If we don't face this head-on, it'll consume you. You both know it. Each step they took toward the town square felt like stepping into a depth that both thrilled and terrified him. Jake glanced back at their mother. Are you coming? She hesitated, the weight of the world in her eyes. I'll follow, she finally said, her tone soft but laced with fear. He hoped she would find the strength that as they reached the square, the crowd was already gathering, faces filled with curiosity, confusion, and even anger. Jake's heart pounded in his chest. The townspeople were restless, whispers of doubt and judgment swirling like a wild wind. It only took a moment for someone in the crowd to spot them. There they are. A voice boomed, piercing through the crowd. The ones hiding the truth. Jake felt his stomach drop. Here they were, standing on the precipice of the unknown. He could feel the weight of all their eyes on him, hot and scrutinizing. He took a deep breath, summoning every bit of courage he could find. Everyone. He called out, his voice shaking slightly, but he pressed on. I know you have questions. We all do. Silence followed, heavy and thick, but he pressed on, emboldened by the urgency of the moment. You've heard the rumors that we found something. And we did. But it's not just an artifact. It's a piece of our family history. Lily stiffened beside him, but he could see a subtle shift in her expression, a flicker of understanding dawning as he continued. This isn't just about us. It's about all of you. It's about facing our truth together. The crowd murmured, the tension thickening again. Some looked doubtful, others intrigued. Jake felt the air electric around him, each heartbeat drumming out a rhythm of fear and excitement. Then the town elder stepped forward, a skeptical look painting her features. You think your family's past will change anything? Why should we believe you? The challenge hung in the air, and Jake could feel his voice starting to betray him. But thoughts of their past, the artifact's warmth, and the potential for healing pushed him forward. I know this might seem like a burden, but it's a chance for all of us, he pressed, desperation creeping into his tone. Let us talk about it. Let us face the shadows of our past together and learn. The murmurs swelled again, uncertainty mingling with curiosity. But before he could catch his breath, a hand shot up from the back, a familiar face. Wait. Before we go on, I have something to say. Jake's heart raced as he recognized the person stepping forward. It was Mia, his childhood friend, and she held a paper in her hand, shaking slightly. What did she know? And why was she here? With every step she took toward them, the tension grew thicker. Jake knew this moment could change everything. But was it in their favor or against them? Mia stood there, her pale face illuminated by the fading sunlight. Jake's stomach twisted in knots. Why was she here? What did she have to say that felt so significant in this charged moment? The crowd fell silent, attention fixed on her trembling hands. I found something, she said, her voice shaky but resolute. Something connected to your family. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Jake felt a wave of disbelief wash over him. What do you mean? He urged, stepping closer. What did you find? Mia unfolded the paper, her eyes darting between Jake and the townspeople. I found an old journal hidden in the library's archives. It belonged to your great-grandfather, Jake. He wrote about a secret that could change everything. Jake's pulse quickened. A secret? This was bigger than he had imagined. What kind of secret? He pressed, leaning in, desperate for answers. It's about the artifact. It was more than just a family heirloom. It's a key to a hidden history of our town. A ripple of skepticism went through the crowd. What kind of history? The elder challenged, narrowing her eyes. This sounds like a fancy tale. Mia straightened, her determination shining through the doubt. No, it's real. He described hidden tunnels beneath the town, places where truths were buried long ago, truths that could reshape how we see our community today. The air became electric as murmurs of intrigue rippled through the townspeople. Jake felt hope rising within him, mingled with the fear of what those truths could reveal. Had they all been standing on the edge of something monumental, with their backs turned, Lily's grip on Jake's arm tightened, and he could feel her uncertainty mixing with his excitement. "If there are tunnels, if there's more to discover, we need to find it," she whispered urgently. "But what if it's worse than we thought? What if it unearths something we can't handle? Then we face it," Jake declared, lifting his chin defiantly. Maybe this was their opportunity, not just to uncover the past, but to confront the present. "We can't let fear dictate our choices anymore." Mia nodded, her voice gaining strength. "I believe the truth can heal us. We need to explore those tunnels and find out what's really hidden there. But I can't do this alone." "Then we'll do it together," Jake said, glancing at the townspeople. "This isn't just about my family or Mia's discovery. It's about all of us. If we share our stories, we may uncover the bonds that hold us together." The crowd stirred, eyes shifting from Jake to Mia, faces softening when confronted with the possibility of connection. Was it the shared history that would unite them, or the potential for healing? Slowly, one by one, hands began to rise, some offering support, others still hesitant. The elder watched, skepticism giving way to a glimmer of intrigue. "If there are tunnels, if this journal holds truth, then perhaps we need to consider what lies beneath our very feet." Jake's heart soared. "Let us work together then. Let us discover what's been hidden for too long." But as the crowd began to murmur their agreement, a shadow flickered at the edge of the square. A figure clad in dark clothing, watching from a distance, eyes glinting with a knowing intensity. And suddenly, Jake felt that beautiful swell of hope shift into something darker, a warning, perhaps. "Who is that?" he whispered to Lily, a tightness forming in his chest. "I don't know," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "But it doesn't look good." As the figure turned and melted into the shadows, Jake knew one thing: whatever lay ahead, they were on the brink of a truth that could change everything. But would they be ready for the revelations that were to come? The following morning, Jake woke with the sun streaming through his window, but instead of the warmth he usually felt, an unease settled deep inside him. All night, he tossed and turned, shadows from yesterday's meeting haunting his dreams. He could still see that figure lurking at the edge of the square, their presence a foreboding whisper in his mind that he quickly threw on some clothes and headed downstairs. Lily was already seated at the table, absent-mindedly stirring her cereal. Her brow was furrowed deeply, mirroring the knot in Jake's stomach. "Hey," Jake said, trying to sound upbeat despite the weight on his chest. "Did you sleep at all?" "Not much." Her fingers traced the bowl's rim. "I can't stop thinking about what Mia said. And that shadowy figure. What if they want to stop us?" The air felt thick with tension, making the normal morning chatter feel miles away. Jake squeezed her hand across the table, a small gesture of reassurance that he needed just as much as she did. "We'll figure it out together," he assured her, trying to shake his doubts. "I think we should gather people today. Draw up a plan for how to search those tunnels. The more we know, the better prepared we'll be." After breakfast, they met in the town's small park. The sun hung bright in the sky, but the mood was somber. Jake saw familiar faces, worried expressions mixed with determination. Mia stood at the front, her presence strong, bolstered by the support of the community. They belonged to each other now, and Jake could feel the spirit of unity in the air. "All right, everyone," Mia began, eyes scanning the crowd. "We're not just uncovering secrets for the sake of curiosity. There may be things that have been hidden from us for a long time and they could shape our future." The crowd murmured in agreement. Jake noticed a few parents clutching their children close, uneasy glances exchanged among neighbors. Uneasiness spread like wildfire, but coupled with excitement. People were ready to confront the truth. "We'll split into groups," Jake suggested, his voice ringing out steady. Some will explore the library for more clues, others will research local myths and stories about the town. Meanwhile, I'll lead a team to check the old well at the edge of town. It's where the journal mentioned the tunnels might start. Discussions broke out, plans unfolding as people's fear gave way to determination. They were rallying together, pooling their resources to uncover whatever lay beneath their feet. Just as Jake felt a surge of hope, the ground beneath them trembled slightly. A low rumble echoed through the park, drawing alarmed glances upward. What was that? Someone exclaimed. Jake's heart raced as he hurried to Lily's side. Did that feel ominous to you? Before she could answer, a loud crack split the air, and a cloud of dust erupted from the old library. Gasps filled the park as dust and debris floated down like an unsettling snow. Something deep within the earth was stirring, and it felt like a warning, a reminder that digging too deep might unearth not just truths but unresolved pain. We need to be careful, Mia warned, her voice edged with concern. If the tunnels truly exist, they may be unstable. We have to be smart about how we dig. Yeah, but we can't let fear hold us back, Jake said, fueled by the energy of the crowd. Today, we're taking the first steps toward understanding. We owe it to ourselves and our town. As they prepared to divide into their groups, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone in this revelation. Someone was watching, biding their time, waiting for the right moment to act. Jake, Lily said softly, her eyes wide. Do you really think we're ready for what we might find? He glanced back at the library, its walls weathered with secrets. I hope so, he murmured, because it seems like we're already too deep to turn back now. And then, as Mia started to rally them, a scream pierced the air, a chilling cry from somewhere within the town. A sound that sent ice through Jake's veins. That old darkness was awakening, and they were all caught in its grip. The revelation was only the beginning. What truths lay in wait could be far more than they bargained for. What if some secrets should have stayed buried? Jake's heart pounded in his chest as the scream rang out, echoing through the park like a klaxon signaling danger. Faces turned toward the sound, panic slicing through the earlier determination. The murmur of the crowd faded as dread settled in like a thick fog. Where did that come from? Someone shouted, their voice trembling. Lily's grip on Jake's hand tightened. I don't like this, she whispered. We need to help whoever it is. Nods of agreement rippled through their group. Without thinking, Jake led the charge toward the library, the source of the cry. Each step felt heavier, the weight of fear pressing hard on his shoulders. As they approached the library's entrance, the dust hung thick in the air. The building loomed over them, its windows darkened like vacant eyes. Jake recalled the unsettling crack just moments before from a wall, from the earth. Had it truly been only a library, or was there more buried beneath its outdated books and forgotten histories? Stay close. Mia shouted, rallying the others. We need to be ready for anything. They entered the library, the musty scent of old pages greeting them like a forgotten memory. Sunlight filtered through the dust, illuminating the chaos. Books lay strewn across the floor, shelves shifted as if pushed by an unseen hand. They moved cautiously, every noise amplifying the tension, every shadow a potential threat. Hello. Jake called, his voice echoing oddly in the silence. Is anyone there? Silence responded, thick and heavy. But then, they heard whimpering coming from a narrow aisle at the back of the library. Jake glanced at Lily, her eyes wide with concern, and together they pressed on. As they reached the source, they found a little girl crouched on the floor, shaking. She must have been lost during the panic. Her glossy brown hair fell over her tear-streaked face, and she cast terrified glances around as if expecting the shadows to swallow her whole. Hey there, Jake knelt beside her, lowering his voice to a gentle whisper. It's okay. You're safe now. The girl blinked at him, suspicion mingling with relief. Jake summoned his most reassuring smile. What's your name? Claire, she sniffed, her tiny voice quaking. Claire, can you tell me what happened? Did you see anything? She glanced back at the aisle and spoke in a hush, there was a man. He was by the books. He had a strange coat. An icy knot twisted in Jake's stomach. A stranger? Here. Did he hurt you? Lily asked, kneeling beside him, her voice soft and soothing. Claire shook her head, but her eyes said otherwise. I don't know. I just got scared when everything started shaking, and I ran. I couldn't find my mom. Just as Jake reached out to comfort Claire, a shadow slipped between the shelves behind her, almost imperceptible but heavy with malice. Jake's instinct screamed at him. Get down! He shouted, pulling Claire close. Lily dove for cover beside them as grasping hands reached out from within the darkness, an ominous chill filling the aisles. The rest of the group rushed in, confusion turning to frantic energy. Mia stepped forward, her authority igniting instinctive courage. We need to block that aisle. Don't let anything out. Jake's heart raced as he glanced back at the entrance, the weight of the past clouding his mind. They were on the verge of discovering secrets long hidden, and yet, it felt as if those secrets were fighting back. As the crowd formed a blockade, the shadow figure surged forward, revealing itself a tall man, cloaked in black with eyes like coal. He emanated a darkness that felt suffocating. The whispering shadows danced, mocking their determination, while Claire clung to Jake, trembling. Run! Someone shouted, but Jake stood rooted to the spot, a mix of fear and defiance swirling within him. This couldn't be how it ended. He wouldn't let fear take control. What do you want? Jake demanded, his voice steady despite the trembling in his hands. The figure didn't answer, it lingered instead, eyes narrowing, reflecting something more sinister than just themselves. And then it spoke, low and dangerous, you've awoken what should not be disturbed. The ominous word sent a shiver down Jake's spine. What had they stumbled upon? As the group began to scatter, panic breaking the line, Jake felt the pull of destiny tightening around him. They were searching for answers, but they might uncover truths even more terrifying than they imagined. What if facing it was the only way to free them? Lily whispered, her eyes locked on Jake, and he knew now that their battle was just beginning. What lay ahead would test their bonds and faith. The revelation was near, but at what cost? And just then, the walls screamed in response, a roiling vibrato that twisted the air, shaking loose secrets they weren't ready to confront. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Jake's stomach dropped as the shadow figure loomed closer, its presence filling the room with an unspeakable dread. The echoes of its voice raced through his mind, each word a chilling reminder of the darkness they had awakened. Stay back! Mia yelled, putting herself between the shadow and the rest of the group. We're not afraid of you. Jake admired Mia's bravery, but his heart raced even faster. How could they stand against something so sinister? Claire's fingers dug into his arm, her fear tangible. Jake! Lily's voice broke through his thoughts. What do we do? He turned to her, searching her eyes for answers knowing they needed a plan. Maybe if we reason with it, we can. His voice trailed off. Could they actually reason with a creature seemingly born of nightmares? The dark figure tilted its head, as if amused by their struggle. You speak, but your hearts are unready. Its voice slithered into their ears, making Jake shiver despite himself. You do not understand the power you've disturbed. What power? Jake squared his shoulders, determination flooding through him. Tell us what you mean. There was a flicker of irritation across the figure's face, like a storm threatening to break. Shadows flickered around it, writhing in anticipation. Your insatiable curiosity has unlocked an ancient force, it hissed. One that craves freedom from the chains of time. It demands a sacrifice, a soul willing to go forth and awaken the others. What others? Jake asked, dread pooling in his stomach. But the figure only smiled, the edges of its mouth curling upward while malice gleamed in its coal-black eyes. The library holds more than mere books, boy. It is a doorway. Claire whimpered softly, and that sound pierced through the air like a heartbreaking cry. We have to save her. Jake said, the urgency in his voice rising. Back! Mia shouted, the line of defense forming a human barrier. Instinctively, Jake's hand reached for the small knife in his pocket. It was more for show than anything else, just a flimsy tool, but in this moment, it felt like a spark of defiance amidst the shadows. He shifted to confront the figure once more. We don't have to fight. We can talk this out. There's got to be a way to resolve this without hurting anyone. Just tell us how. As if weighing his words, the figure paused. Claire looked up at Jake, hope glimmering in her eyes. Jake, please. The shadow flickered, as if debating. Very well. A choice shall be made, it finally declared. One among you must decide to face what lies beneath. Only then can you find the truth you seek. What does that mean? Lily asked, her voice trembling but firm. It means someone must willingly step into the darkness. If they are not afraid, the figure replied, its voice mesmerizing and sinister all at once. The room fell into a tense silence. Jake felt the weight of their collective fear. Everyone's eyes darted between him, the figure, and the surrounding shadows growing thicker with every passing second. What if we all go? Mia suggested, her voice fierce. We face it together. Together? The figure scoffed, revealing sharp teeth in a predatory grin. That is not the way of this truth. The challenge hung in the air, charged and tense. Jake could feel time slowing, the stakes rising higher with every heartbeat. Could he really accept this challenge? Could he face not just the unknown but also whatever was lurking beneath, waiting for a chance to break free? Clenching his fist around the knife, he swallowed hard. He looked at his friends, Lily, Mia, Claire. Would he be their protector, ready to plunge into the depths to save them all? Jake. Lily murmured, as if reading his mind. Please, don't. Let us find another way. But the spectre's voice echoed in his head, relentless. Only one can lead them. Will you choose to awaken what should remain undisturbed? Without thinking, Jake stepped forward, determination coursing through him. I'll do it, he said, the words spilling from his lips before he could second-guess himself. What had he just unleashed? The shadows surged forward, and as darkness swallowed him whole, Jake felt a flicker of fear battling against an unexpected surge of hope. As the ground shifted, he heard Lily call out, "No, Jake. Don't." But it was too late. The choice was made, what lay on the other side of the darkness that awaited him. The darkness embraced Jake like a heavy blanket, thick and suffocating. His heart raced, every thump echoing in his ears as he felt himself falling into an abyss. Oddly, he found himself breathing deeper, instinctively pushing through the fear that clawed at him. Suddenly, a light flickered ahead, and Jake squinted, his throat dry as he tried to concentrate. The darkness felt alive, pulsing around him, whispering fears he dared not voice. Images flashed before his eyes, screams, a crumbling tower, and shadows whispering secrets long forgotten. But among those visions, he sensed something brighter. Hope. He stumbled forward, following the glimmer of light. "Hello." He called out, his voice trembling. But the silence swallowed his words, leaving only the sound of his breath, rapid and shallow. The air shifted, cool and damp, invigorating him like a splash of water on his face. The path beneath him felt strangely solid, and with each step, he began to regain control. In the distance, voices danced around the light, compelling yet distant. He hesitated, rooted to his spot. Were those the souls the figure had spoken of? Were they trapped here like he was? Suddenly, he was no longer alone. Figures began to emerge from the shadows, their features eclectically varying. Some wore tattered clothes, while others shone in radiant garb, brilliant in their appearance yet obscured by sorrow. They seemed a century removed from his world, lost within the threads of time. "Welcome," a voice croaked softly. It belonged to an older man, his face etched with lines that told stories of both hardship and wisdom. You are brave to face the darkness. Where am I? Jake asked, swallowing hard. What do you want from me? The man smiled sadly. You have come to break us free or to take on our burden. It is your choice. What burden? He pressed, a knot forming in his stomach. The burden of knowledge, the man replied seriously. You stand at a crossroads, young one. Your friends are in danger, and you hold the key to their fate. Jake shook his head, trying to deny the weight of that responsibility. I can't. I don't even know how I got here. The man gestured around him, and Jake's eyes widened as more faces emerged. Each one bore expressions of longing, regret, and hope. You were chosen. Your curiosity and bravery have drawn you into our plight. All we ask is for you to listen. Jake swallowed, adrenaline coursing through his veins. What do you need me to do? You must confront the shadow that binds us, the man replied. Only then can you find the truth and rescue your friends. What if I fail? Jake's voice faltered, doubts creeping in. Then darkness will linger, held captive within you, the man warned, unleashed upon your world. A chill ran through Jake. Images of his friends flashed in his mind: Mia's fierceness, Claire's vulnerability, and Lily's unwavering belief in him. He thought of their bond, the moments they shared, and the laughter that had echoed in those once bright halls. I won't let them down, Jake said, newfound determination igniting within him. Where do I find the shadow? Deep below in the vaults of ancient knowledge, the man pointed eagerly. It awaits the chosen. Only you can decide to awaken or bind it. Taking a deep breath, Jake stepped further into the light. He felt the weight of the lost souls preparing for his journey, as if they too were entrusting him with their fate. With each step, the light brightened. What if I'm not strong enough? He whispered to himself. Strength comes from love, the young woman beside the older man whispered. Find it within, and you'll never falter. Those words echoed with the promise of hope and courage. But a sickening pang of anxiety gripped his heart. Just as he turned to face the vaults ahead, the shadows thickened, swirling furiously in a tempestuous cyclone around him. He could feel the eyes of the souls watching expectantly, anticipating his next move. He took a deep breath, the moment had come. A low growl reverberated through the air, and Jake clenched his jaw. What would he uncover as he ventured toward the uncharted abyss? Jake stepped into the swirling shadows, heart pounding like a drum. The darkness wasn't just a void, it was a living entity, breathing against him, daring him to turn back. But he wouldn't. Images of his friends pulled him forward like a magnet. As he navigated the thickening shadows, he felt a pulse beneath his feet, a rhythmic thump, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. With every step, the air grew colder, wrapping around him like icy fingers. Tension danced along his spine. Stay focused, he reminded himself. Every whisper of doubt fought to drown him, but he tightened his grip on the remnants of hope. Strength comes from love, the words of the young woman echoed in his mind. After what felt like an eternity, he reached a heavy door, its surface etched with strange symbols. They seemed to shimmer momentarily as he approached, hinting at mysteries hidden behind it. Jake placed his palm on the cold metal and, with a deep breath, pushed it open. The door creaked like a wounded beast, revealing a vast chamber dimly lit by flickering torches. Dust hung in the air, catching the light and creating an ethereal glow. Cobwebs draped across stone pillars that seemed to stretch endlessly upward, echoing lost stories within their silent structures. That he stepped inside, squinting to make sense of the sprawling room. On the far side, a circular pedestal stood, marked by an intricate design that caught his attention. A soft glow pulsed at its center, a blue orb, vibrating gently as if it were alive. What is this? Jake wondered aloud. The shadows whispered around him, teasing, enticing, yet filled with a foreboding sense that he was not alone. As he approached the pedestal, an electric feeling surged through him. With trembling fingers, he reached out toward the blue orb, an innate instinct compelling him. Suddenly, a booming voice reverberated through the chamber. "Do not touch it." Jake jumped back, heart racing. A figure emerged from the shadows, tall and imposing, cloaked in darkness, shrouded with an aura that felt both familiar and terrifying. It was the shadow, the very thing he'd been sent to confront. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, his voice barely masking the tremor threatening to betray him. "I am the keeper of the truth," the shadow replied, its voice deep and rich like thunder. "You seek to uncover the secrets that bind the lost souls, but do you truly understand the cost?" Jake felt caught between panic and curiosity. The orb pulsed brighter, filling the chamber with a shimmering light. "I have to save them," he insisted, clutching the hope that drove him. The shadow chuckled darkly, sending chills coursing through Jake's veins. "Save them, or lose yourself. The burden of knowledge is vast and heavy. What remains is to choose." His heart raced at the gravity of the choice laid naked before him. The faces of Mia, Claire, and Lily flashed in his mind, smiling, laughing, memories that felt worth fighting for. But the threat whispered in the air, warning of the darkness he might unleash. Jake took a step back, grappling with the weight of it all. He could feel the pressure mounting, the choice he had to make anchored deep in his chest. What if he lost himself in the process? "What if I fail?" he murmured, the words slipping from his lips like a confession. A painful silence hung between them, thick and suffocating. "Then you will not only fail your friends," the shadow whispered, "but become part of this darkness that holds so many captive. Do you wish to join them?" The pulse of the orb quickened, responding to the turmoil swirling within him. With resolve building in his heart, Jake squared his shoulders. He would not allow fear to dictate his actions. "I will face whatever comes," he declared boldly, light flooding his spirit. "Then reach for the truth," the shadow intoned as the orb blazed, blinding light pushing away the darkness in a radiant explosion. Caught in the brilliance, Jake felt himself pulled into the orb. An exhilarating rush enveloped him, the light drowning out the shadows, filling his mind with visions beyond comprehension, but just before the light consumed him entirely, he saw flashes of unimaginable truths and pain that his choices might unleash. What awaited him in that blinding light? Would he emerge stronger, or would he open a Pandora's box that could destroy everything? Jake felt his body teetering on the edge of the universe, as the light enveloped him entirely. The brilliant orb pulsed with energy, drawing from his bravery. It swept away the despair and darkness that had clung to his heart for so long, lighting a path that tunneled through the very essence of his being. In that instant, memories began flashing before him. He saw moments of laughter shared with Lily and Mia. Their joy filled his soul with warmth. But with every lovely memory came shards of pain, regrets, fights, the scars of unvoiced fears. They spun around him like a whirlwind, overwhelming his senses. "Face it, Jake," echoed a multitude of voices, encouragement mingling with warning. "You must choose." As visions swirled, two paths unfurled before him. One led to revelations that could strengthen his family and community, a connection that would bind them together. It glimmered with hope, light radiating from every corner. The other lay cloaked in shadows, tempting him with power but riddled with chaos that threatened to tear their lives apart. Breathless, Jake could almost touch the wisps of what could be. This choice wasn't just about truth, it was about the future they would step into together. "Strength comes from love," he repeated, channeling Lily's words that had lingered in his heart. The brightness flickered in response, as if urging him forward. He had lived in the shadow long enough. It was time to reclaim their story. With a roar of courage, he reached deep into the light, the warmth surging through him. "I choose to face the truth," he declared, grounding himself against the tempest that kicked up around him. If he embraced the light, perhaps he could shine it on their fears, show his family that progress was built on understanding and acceptance. In a stunning burst, the orb expanded, wrapping around him like a cocoon. The shadows twisted, attempting to cling to his essence, but he pressed on. "I won't let fear dictate." "Foolish boy." The shadow's voice slithered back, venomous with bitterness. You think you can bind the darkness? It is part of you now. Jake's spirit ignited with a fierce glow, a flood of memories propelling him forward, his mother's support, Lily's courage in moments of vulnerability, Mia's unyielding strength. They trusted him. He drew in breath, summoned every glimmer of love. You are not stronger than our bond. His voice rang clear, and the light exploded outward, drenching the room in luminescence that seared through the shadows. The darkness writhed, retreating from the brilliance that poured from him, being devoured by the very hope it sought to extinguish. And in that moment, Jake understood. It wasn't merely about vanquishing the shadows, it was about reclaiming their family's story, about standing tall, about healing. As the light embraced him, Jake felt an inexplicable shift. He was being swept upward, carried through a balance of memories, stories of love and loss, triumph and despair, an intertwining tapestry of the past threading through him. Finally, Jake emerged, collapsing onto the floor of the library, panting, luminous energy still flickering around him. The shadows had dissolved into soft whispers, the figure vanishing, reduced to a mere echo of threat. Lily rushed to his side, eyes wide with fear and awe, while Mia clutched Claire close, their eyes searching him, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Jake! Are you okay? Lily blurted out, relief washing over her features. Yeah, I think so. He pushed himself up, the warmth of their concern soothing his soul. The shadows felt lighter, twisted less with malevolence, no longer looming over them. The room pulsed with new energy. We can face the past together, Jake said finally, looking into the eyes of those he loved most. And it will forge a future we can be proud of. Mia nodded, her voice steadier than before. Yeah. Whatever was buried, we can uncover it, but as a community. No more secrets, no more shadows. Together. Jake could barely believe they were already envisioning the path ahead, as the memories of fear crumbled around them. Their mother stepped forward, tears glistening in her eyes, pride emanating from her smile. She knew they would overcome, that their bond had strengthened. I believe in you all for once, let us stand as a family, united. The library doors swung wide open, revealing the bright sunlight illuminating Maplewood's streets. What they had uncovered was not merely a legacy shrouded in shadow, but a beautiful tapestry of resilience, healing, and connection. Hope surged within him, igniting like a beacon. They had the power to reshape the town, to guide themselves and their community toward a brighter, shared future. And as Jake stepped outside with Lily, Mia, and Claire, they embraced the warm glow of possibilities ahead. This wasn't just the end, it was the beginning of something extraordinary. Now, it's your turn to join the journey. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes all the difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Was it inspiring? Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us be part of this incredible community together.